What is going on, my people? It is UK, Trotler Brother, dr.blick, the darkest man who around. And today, guys, I'll be explaining the OPE OPE no Mi, also known as the OPE OPE fruit in the dub. So if there's been a time for you guys to get that fried chicken, get that Kool-Aid, now is the perfect time, because in UK, Trotler Brother will be going ham on this video. So without further ado, let me just get on with this. So the OPE OPE no Mi first debuted manga chapter 765, October 27th, 2014. The word OP comes from the word operation, and if you were to spell operation, the first three letters spells OP, and that is pretty clever on Oda's part, taking the word operation and shortening it down to OPE OPE no Mi. So you guys might be wondering, why is the word operation referenced for this devil fruit? And the reason for that is due to the fact that the room that the user creates is pretty much compared to an operation room, and it makes a lot of sense due to the fact that the user of this fruit currently in the series is known as the Surgeon of Death. But to go even further, to make you guys get a broader understanding, let me just explain to you guys what the OPE OPE no Mi is, and then after that we can dive into the pros and the cons of this devil fruit. So the OPE OPE no Mi is a paramecia devil fruit that allows the user to create a spherical space, also known as room, which a lot of people know. If you watch the anime, if you watch the series of One Piece, you will know that the spherical space that the user creates is known as room, and this allows the user to control everything that is placed inside the room. Objects, people, everything that is inside the room will be controlled by the user, and the user also has the ability to modify human beings, so he can pretty much create his own races. So he can create a half cow, half horse type of person, or half human, half horse type of thing. Like, the user of this fruit has complete control when it comes to anything that goes on inside that room. He's creating operations, he's making new species and races with the stuff that he's doing, if you guys get what I mean. So now that I've explained the basic outline of what the OPE OPE no Mi is, let's go on to the pros and the cons of what this user can do. So let's start with the pros. So one of the major pros about this devil fruit is the fact that the user is blessed with immense spatial abilities, and all of this is done by the user creating this area known as room. And this gives the user the ability to manipulate anything within inside the room itself, such as people, cannibals, ships, pretty much anything that's within inside that room. The user has the ability to control and manipulate. One of the major abilities that the user has when being inside the room is the fact that the user can perform telekinesis. So the user has the ability to make objects at a far distance float just by him using his arms and using certain signs to make objects float that may be on the other side of the room. So he has the ability to somewhat make things levitate, if you know what I mean. Not only that, the user has the ability to do swap teleportation, and when I mean swap teleportation is literally what it is. So say if I got an object on the other side of the room and I want to be where that object is, the user has the ability to swap me with that object, and I will be where that object was and the object will be where I was. So the user has the ability to swap things around in terms of its positioning where it might be at a distance. This has notably been done when Law performed Gamma Knife against Doflamingo, when Law swapped himself with Luffy to be in the air to perform that Gamma Knife against Doflamingo. So the user has crazy amounts of abilities that he can perform at his arsenal when using the OPE OPE no Mi. And not only that, the user has the ability to separate a limb at a far distance, and this has been shown back in Sabaody Archipelago when Law went up against the Marines and he separated the limbs of them and actually made them float up in the air, because he has the ability to lift things up in the air, as you guys saw in that arc of Sabaody Archipelago when Law lifted up a bunch of Marines while their body parts were all separated and they were all flying about. And all of this can be done without putting these people in pain. So Law has the choice to put them in pain or to leave them painless. Majority of the time they're not in pain. And not only that, the user has the ability to take people's heart out, and he also has the ability to swap people's heart out. And Doflamingo refers the whole swapping people's heart around as the personality transplant, because essentially you are switching people's personality into a different body. So Luffy will be switched into let's say Sanji, and Sanji will be switched into Luffy. Obviously Luffy is still Luffy, but he's in Sanji's body, and obviously Sanji is Sanji, but he's in Luffy's body. That's just an example of how Law can change people's personality or transport them into different bodies. That right there is pretty OP when you really think about it. The user also has the ability to instinctively switch himself with other objects while being within inside that room, and all of this is a form of teleportation. And as you guys have seen, you've seen this done multiple times in the series, with Law extensively replacing himself with something else. And this is more so something that the user has to develop, because I'm pretty sure Law wouldn't be doing that right off the bat, because we have heard Corazon say multiple times about this devil fruit that you have to have some medical knowledge, some medical background in order to make this devil fruit hella effective. The user also has the ability to generate an electrical charge, which is like a defibrillator. If you guys do not know what a defibrillator is, the defibrillator is something that doctors use to shock people back to life when they're on the brink of death. So it's used to shock people back to life, and that is the quickest and the most basic term I can give you when it comes to the defibrillator itself. But anyways, the user has the ability to cut through things cleanly. And when I mean cut through things cleanly, I mean the user has the ability to cut through flesh and bone without actually hurting the person that he's cutting through. And this has been shown when Law cut through Virgo cleanly. So there's one thing to keep in mind about this type of slicing technique. This is only really effective when it's done on a living being. When it's done on a non-living being, this is not going to be anything special. It's just going to be like a regular cut, a regular slice, nothing special. Because if you look at this technique as a whole, this technique is done to perform surgery. This is done to remove internal organs. So when internal organs are removed by this ability, they are left vulnerable and unprotected, as you guys would expect. If I remove your heart and stepped on it, you will feel that shit, you know what I'm saying? You will feel it. So the same goes with this technique. It's done to perform surgery. If you do it on a non-living being, it's not going to be effective as it would be when it's done on something that is living. The biggest pro when it comes to this devil fruit, in my opinion, is the pro that pretty much saves the current user's life. And that is the fact that this devil fruit can be used for medical purposes. And this is no miracle worker. This is no snap of the finger sort of thing. You gotta have a extent of medical knowledge in order to utilize this fruit fluently in terms of using the medical purposes. Because if you know a good amount of medical knowledge, you can pretty much cure any illness, and that is the reason why the character that is using this devil fruit currently is still alive. So the fact that Law is a skilled surgeon and a doctor is what helps him use this devil fruit to his fullest potential. So since we mentioned the fact that you can only really achieve this devil fruit's fullest potential by being a doctor or a surgeon or even having some sort of medical knowledge, let's talk about the ultimate ability that this fruit has. Obviously, I spoke about how key it was for the user to have some medical knowledge in order to fulfill its potential, but let's talk about the key ability, what makes this devil fruit the ultimate devil fruit in the One Piece universe. And this key ability is known as the Immortality Operation. And what this does is the user has to give up their life in order to perform this operation. And of course, based on the way this title of it being called Immortality Operation, you of course know the idea that whoever this operation is done on, they will become immortal. And this is why Doflamingo tried to trick Law into doing that surgery on him. Obviously, Law is well aware of that surgery and well aware of what that surgery does to him, because Law is probably one of the smartest minds in the One Piece universe, and he's well aware of what his devil fruit can do, due to the fact that he used it to save his life, and due to the fact that he used it to help save Luffy's life as well, and also them kids on Punk Hazard too. So keeping all of this in mind, Doflamingo wanted that fruit so that he can get Corazon to use it to perform the surgery on him. But since he realized that Law has the fruit now, he wanted Law to perform that surgery on him so that he can become immortal and so that he can live forever and take over the world, which obviously if you're caught up to One Piece, he fails, and he was gonna fail because plot armor. But anyway, since we've spoken about all the pros of this fruit in terms of what it can do, in terms of everything that the user has at his disposal, let's talk about the cons that the user will also acquire when taking a bite out of the OPE OPE no Mi. So one of the major cons to this devil fruit is the fact that the user can only be effective while his opponent is inside the room. So as long as his opponent is not inside that room, the user cannot do anything to that opponent when it comes to him trying to use his devil fruit against them. So another major con to this devil fruit is the fact that this devil fruit depletes stamina. And what I mean by that is the more times the user uses room, depending on how big the room is itself, it will deplete the user's stamina. And when the stamina depletes from the user cannot use the ability of this devil fruit until their stamina recovers. This has been shown when Law went up against Doflamingo when he was struggling to get up a room when he was fighting him on the bridge. So when it comes down to this devil fruit relies on stamina a lot. Like, you can't be successful with this devil fruit and have terrible stamina. And furthermore, when it comes to being successful with this devil fruit, you can't use this devil fruit to its fullest extent unless you have a medical background. And what I mean by that is this devil fruit is only really effective to people that are doctors, surgeons, nurses. People that have medical knowledge are the only real people that can use this devil fruit ability to its fullest extent. But as a whole, guys, that's pretty much all I gotta say when it comes to the major weaknesses of the OPE OPE no Mi. Obviously, you got other small weaknesses like water, sea prison stone, all of that stuff that you will associate with people that have a devil fruit. So when it comes down to the major weaknesses, those are the major weaknesses for the OPE OPE no Mi. So as a whole, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this video. I worked hard on this video. Leave your thoughts about that down in the comment section below, because this has been UK Trottler brother dr.blick, the darkest man around, and it's time for me to put down that fried chicken and the Kool-Aid and wrap up this video. So please comment and subscribe. I know I say this all the time, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, please like, if you enjoyed this video, and yeah, this UK Trottler brother will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.